What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Summit. I'm Antonio Perez, joined as always by Chris Coulter, CB Coulter Boy. Danny is out for this episode, had some apartment issues. I guess I'll speak on his behalf. That's his Summit and Plummet. But yeah, we have a great episode for you guys today. We will be recapping week 3 in the NFL. Again, I'm going to do this every time we're on here. I cannot believe 3 weeks have already gone by, but that is how time works, as I always say. Going to be talking about Eagles, Rams, Lions, Ravens, Broncos, Chargers, Bears, Cowboys, Jets, Bucks, Cardinals, Niners, and Chiefs, Giants, who a couple hours ago, the Giants did announce Jackson Dart will be making his first start in week 4. More on that in our next episode. But of course, before we start, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Audio listeners, leave a like, 5-star review. And we'll go to Chris for Summits and Plummets, who has been a very busy man with wedding weekend coming up.
Right, bro. I've been doing so much pre stuff, but I think it's been my summer for like 2 weeks now. But it's here now. This is literally Thursday, so I'm just excited about that, dude. Like I said, I only been to my mom and my dad's wedding before. That's the only wedding I've been to, and I don't remember anything about it besides telling them that I was not calling my mom Cinderella because I know who Cinderella was. Long story, but I've always been a difficult guy. If it'll show you anything. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to. And then Double Summit. While I was at work today, I was doing commercial stuff. So I think I've said before about working in marketing. I'm a marketing coordinator for the Dallas Independent School District. And we have an event coming up in November that you have to like a promo and all this stuff for. So but part of the promo was getting like alumni who are in certain fields and stuff doing cool stuff. So we had like a PT, a physical therapist. We had a airplane engineer and an artist who's pretty well known around Dallas. So I was like going around to all those spots doing shoots and stuff. So really cool part about my actual day job. And soon I'll be doing the same with Sha'Carri Richardson. Soon to come. So that'll be a summit for another day. But yeah, she's going to be in a thing. Maybe Erykah Badu, which I know some people may know. Some people may not. Erykah Badu, pretty cool. Bag lady for those who don't know. But yeah, so that was just my 2 summits.
Yeah, and that's pretty dope, man. I mean, you could know of a wedding 4 months out, and it could be your summit every single week because it's a good time. It's always a good time.
Open bar, by the way, premium liquors.
It could be 8 months out, and we could be talking. You know what I'm saying? But I would say this week's 2 summits, 2 plummets in college football. With the news that John Mater is going to be missing some time of the season. He's got hand surgery on the way. But Oklahoma, absolutely a winner this week. They beat their former quarterback, Jackson Arnold, and Auburn this past Saturday for a huge ranked win. I think I put them up as high as 7 on my latest ranking. And another team that I wanted to give a huge summit to, staying in the SEC, was LSU. I mean, they didn't play anyone special. But putting up 56 points is 56 points, especially offense that's been very struggling. You know, it's good to see them get back on their feet. Very, very good win for them. And then as for the 2 plummets of the week, Illinois, I took them from, I think I had them at 11 to unranked. Absolutely brutal loss to Indiana. I don't know if Indiana is just that much improved this year with their second year under head coach. But that 10 points and losing by 53 is absolutely brutal. They had to go. And his team wasn't ranked. I'm kind of between 2. Nebraska had a chance to finally beat a ranked team for the first time in nearly a decade, and they couldn't do it. But Dylan Raiola did play really well, and that's kind of been the bright spot for Nebraska so far this year. And then Utah lost pretty handily to Texas Tech in a 16-17 matchup. So, yeah, tough to see for them. But, I mean, this week of games, we have bangers. We have Auburn versus Texas A&M, 3-1 versus 3-0. We have 4-0 Oregon versus 3-0 Penn State. We have 4-0 USC versus 3-1 Illinois, which loses a little bit of a type because Illinois is trash. Number 4 LSU versus number 13 Ole Miss. Both are undefeated. We have not too crazy the other one, but Ohio State versus Washington in a 3-0 Big Ten matchup. And then I believe Alabama plays Georgia 2-1 versus 3-0, 17 versus 5. That's going to be another pretty good game. And then Mississippi State gets to test themselves early against 15 ranked Tennessee. Mississippi State was making some pretty close calls on some top 25 polls this week. I put them at 25 myself. So just got a big weekend in college football. Absolutely can't wait. But let's get to the pros. This week's peak of the week that we voted was Eagles-Rams. Rams were up as much as 19 points in this one. At the beginning of the third quarter, they looked like they completely were outmatching the Philadelphia Eagles. And then in the second half, Jalen Hurts and that offense got things going, paired with the defensive stops. They pitched basically a second half shutout outside of, the Rams getting the ball at the 10-yard line. Chris, let me ask you this question. Are you more thrilled with the Eagles comeback in this one, or are you a little bit more worried about the Rams collapse here?
Neither. Because I think both happen to good teams all the time. And then no, that's not me trying to glaze my team for being ass and losing games late. It's just that's what happens. Like sometimes a good team just comes back and nothing you can do about it, and sometimes you just blow a lead. And the crazy part is, I think the reason why I don't take it as bad for the Rams, I don't think they're quote unquote took their foot off the gas. I think the Eagles just came back. So I think for me, I think the only worry will be like, man, we didn't play bad and we still lost. But even still, though, the Eagles are the defending champions. So at the end of the day, you hung around and you played well. You were up, which means you can win this type of game. So I think it's all good to go back from there. And I think from the Eagles, it's all positives. A.J. Brown, 8. Jalen Hurts silenced critics on his passing for 5 days until he passes for 80 yards in the first half next week and they forget he's a quarterback. So he's good for 5 days. So I think it's good for everybody involved. I think it did show some glaring holes, not glaring holes, but some holes on both sides that can be fixed. But I think that's only going to be exploited by other good teams. So I think it's good that this game happened early for both sides. So yeah, that's kind of how I looked at it. I don't think it was negative on either side. I think it was positive takeaway from both. I mean, if you're the Rams, you clearly want to win that game because you were up. But like I said, you lost to the Rams. I mean, to the Eagles, the Super Bowl champions. So
yeah, I think I agree. I'm not pressing any worries about the Rams, but I think what this game showed me is that they are too weak in certain areas where other NFC elites are so good at. Their cornerback room is not the sexiest in the league. Like we have to admit. Their run game was phenomenal in the first half. They could run the ball all over Philadelphia. And that is a good thing because that I considered one of their weaknesses, but Kyron Williams and Blake Corum really did a good job. And I think this is for Philadelphia. Obviously, they have a big cornerback 2 problem, but in this game, because of how things kind of work out with Devontae Adams is the wide receiver 2, but he's also the X receiver at the same time. It was real easy just to put Quinion Mitchell on him. Cooper DeJean gets put on Puka Nacua. Not saying he shut him down at all, but everybody got a shot at him, and it was a little bit better of a day for Adoree Jackson. I'll say that. So kudos to them fixing that. As for the Eagles offense, it is I think there were two A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts did a good job with some like pressing the matter. I said on Twitter, W press, like, because Jalen Hurts said after the game, we have to stop playing not to lose. We need to play to win. We need to be aggressive. That second half, that was our game. And it was clear letting Jalen Hurts, put the ball downfield. It's going to open up things for Saquon. And most of the time, that's probably going to how it's going to open things up, because last year it was like, all right, well, we know, that AJ Brown's like a good deep threat and all this, but Saquon was the main person they want to, stop. So teams were loading the box and playing man behind it. Now they're trying to play a little bit more zone, and they're still stopping the run, but however that may be. But the Eagles did a good job fighting back. A.J. Brown also said we have so many talented players. We should be aggressive. We should be putting teams in the dirt early. And, yeah, that's the more aesthetic way to look. But if you can also win that way, that is preferable. Winning is, of course, the only thing that matters. But there are better ways of how it should look. And, of course, they don't matter how it looks over there. But kudos to Philadelphia for for not showing any quit and whatnot. Obviously, big game by Jordan Davis, had a sack on Stafford on a third down, blew up that fourth down attempt near midfield. To him and Carter each getting a block on field goal. So I think huge win for the Eagles. Not really worried about the Rams collapse. I think this was just a tale of two halves. This was one team, the better team failed to show up in the first half, and they popped out second half and kind of got the breaks as well. So I think if we were to see this matchup again down the road, we're looking at a little bit more even game throughout instead of one of these teams coming back for sure. Yeah, but excellent game by Jalen Hurts. Last thing I pretty much want to say there. Basically all 239 of his passing yards, whatever it was, basically came in the second half. He audibled 9 more plays in the second half than the first half, so he really did take command of that offense. And him and A.J. Brown just started playing buddy ball. And against 99% of the teams in this league, that's going to work because A.J. Brown is a complete force. He's unstoppable, man-to-man wise. You saw he was dribbling the corners. They're draped all over his body trying to make a catch, and he's just catching the ball, dribbling them, and then getting upfield for more yak. So great job on their part. But let's move to the rest of the week 3 recap. The first game I want to start with, we'll start with last night's game, the Monday Night Football game, because I'm sure Chris is shaking in his boots with excitement to talk about this one. So the Ravens are 1-2 to this rate. They've lost to the Lions and they lost to the Bills. So far in this season, what do you think has been the main contributor to the Ravens' failures?
Inconsistency and turnovers. Inopportune turnovers. And honestly, as a real Ravens fan, the reason I say real is because we got a lot of people that's come over since 2018, since we got 8, and they're not real fans because those are people asking to trade Mark Andrews. And if you saw, Mark Andrews is a lot of times the only bright spot in the Ravens offense, even when you have Derrick Henry sometimes. So trust me when I tell you, what did Colin Cowherd said? New fans, we're good. You can stay over there. We're good. But, I just think it's just that consistency and inconsistency and just inopportune turnovers. They showed that they can beat good teams because they were up on good teams. The Lions and Bills are also good teams. That's why I'm not crashing out. They're good teams who's going to be around when it's really winning time in the playoffs. So they're going to be around, in my opinion. So I'm not necessarily crashing over that. They took care of business. They beat the Browns down, which, I mean, that's what they were supposed to do. They should have beat the Bills, should have beat them, but they didn't. And I think also being a real Ravens fan, understanding that this is going to happen every season regardless. They're going to jag a game. They're going to do turnovers at some point. I'm happy it's happening in the beginning because that's a better chance it doesn't happen in the end. That's how I'm looking at it. That's how I'm coping with what has been going on. And even still, Derrick Henry, I think he may have fumbled 8 times his whole time in Tennessee. He's fumbled 3 times this year already. That just probably won't keep up. I can count on that. I don't think he's Ramondre Stevenson type vibes where he's going to fumble every time. Sorry, Ramondre, for the crazy random straight. But I don't think he's going to do that. So I think it's just going to be getting consistent. And the biggest problem, the defense is pissed. It is actually pissed. And it's so bad because the secondary could be so good. It's not. The front line on defense has been a problem for 4 or 5 years. Hasn't been addressed. You just hoped everybody got better, and then you drafted Mike Green, and he still he hasn't been playing position. He's not a cover linebacker. He's just not. And I think that is probably the biggest problem. Zach Orr isn't ready to command the defense. I said that last year. He's just not. And I think this kind of showed. So the biggest problems are inconsistency, inopportune turnovers, and the defense is just not good. The defense gave up, 41, 10, and then 38? And in those games, the Ravens had 40, 41, and then 30. I mean, you can easily be 2-1 out of those games. It's just now I feel like Joe Burrow fans. What can defense do when the offense puts up 30? You know what I'm saying? So that's my crash out on that.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on all of those. And the big thing with the Ravens defense is, okay, you look at the Bengals defense, it's Trey Henderson and friends, or Hendrickson and friends, but this Ravens defense, you have too many big names and good players. Like Marlon Humphrey, yes, you might get like 5 weeks of the season where you question whether he's good at football, but overall, Marlon Humphrey's a good player. Kyle Hamilton's the best at his position in the league. Roquan, who's been questionable in 2 of 3 games so far this year. I'm not ready to pull the plug on him yet. I still think he's one of the elite off-ball linebackers in the NFL, at least the better half of them. But last night, I mean, I think that the tail of the tape was the pressure on the quarterbacks. Failing to get pressure on Jared Goff is
asinine.
It shouldn't be possible. It's because this line is great. This defense has too many. I know the D line was banged up a little bit, but there's just no way that Jared Goff is having all day to throw.
Hey, Tony, you know what helps? You know what helps? When you send Roquan Smith to blitz from 10 yards out, that surely helps the situation. And then it's like, yes, Jared Goff has the feet of a seal, but if you leave him wide open lane, he can run for 7 yards. I promise you.
Yeah. Any NFL quarterback can get you a 5-yard pickup if you're just gonna, like, I don't know, give them all day. And the even crazier part, I don't know I don't know which one I deem a more pathetic performance: the Ravens' defensive line or their offensive line. 30 pressures on Lamar Jackson. You genuinely have to not be blocking anyone. Lamar Jackson, I mean, and I guess scrambles could be considered pressures, but regardless, Lamar is one of the best pocket presses in the entire NFL. He got sacked 7 times. Lamar Jackson, one of the most untouchable dudes when it comes to quarterbacks and evading sacks. Entirely ridiculous. If there was any bright spot for Baltimore, though, Rashad Bateman came up clutch on a lot of catches. Really was impressed by him last night. And Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews came up on several big third downs, had a touchdown catch, which amazing football by Lamar. And and I think the person I want to point to the most when you talk inconsistency is Derrick Henry. He had that long touchdown run. I'm like, dude, like, if you told me you still think he's the best running back in the NFL, I would not argue with you. He's still so good. And he gives the ball up again. It's just so rare. I don't know if it's an awareness thing, a strength thing, but I'm hoping he's used up all his fumbles for the year, because it's getting pretty ridiculous that you could argue he's cost them 2 games so far because of it. But yeah, I think once the Ravens stop playing that little everyone's out of their position game and put people in the right spot, start calling plays the right way, they're going to be just fine. As for Detroit, though, their offensive coordinator, John Morton, is every bit of a play caller as Ben Johnson is, at least, through 3 weeks, granted. But I mean, he keeps it real creative. He loves getting these 2 running backs involved. Amon-Ra St. Brown still looks like a top 5 receiver. And Jared Goff looks as good as he's ever been when he's not pressured. So, yeah, what did you take away, at least from Detroit's side of things? Because, they had that disastrous week 1. They played the Bears week 2, but now they played somebody real. So what do you think about the Detroit?
I mean, they're not Ben Johnson merchants. I think that's what I saw. And I mean, at the end of the day, and I say this this isn't a diss when I say this. Jalen Hurts gets a lot of hate for the weapons he has. If there's ever been a elite group of weapons, it's what the Lions have right now. They have 2 running backs who can start on every team right now that doesn't have Saquon, Derrick Henry, or Bijan Robinson on it. They can start on every team. And then they have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's a top 6 receiver at worst. You have one of the better deep threats in J-Mo, Child Waymo. And you have Sam Laporta just waiting just in case all that doesn't work out. If all else fails, throw it to me. I got it. So it's like, I feel like if Jared Goff wasn't the game manager he is, it probably would be bad for this Lions team. And I say game manager as a compliment, in the sense of everybody eats on this team. No matter if it's first half, it's all running. Second half is all passing. Everybody eats. And I think that makes it easier for Amon-Ra to do what he does, which is be one of the best downfield blockers as a wide receiver that I've seen in a while. It allows Gibbs to pick up blocks. It allows everyone to play outside of their role because they know they're going to get fed on offense. And I think that's just so important. And I think that's what shows up. I mean, I think the defense was good. Obviously, they did good things, but I think the offense is really what outshined last night, in my opinion. So,
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you said 100%. But the Ravens do have a huge matchup this week against the Chiefs. One of these teams will be walking out 1-3. Um, and something tells me it'll be a little bit more acceptable if it's the Chiefs at this rate, but it'd be real tough for the Ravens, especially when you have 1 seed aspirations. 1 and 2 doesn't look good on Lamar. I don't like that, so they should figure things out. Let's go
Please.
to Chargers Broncos. Justin
Free Pete
Herbert
Mitchell.
and his team takes care of the Broncos 23-20. Herbert, I mean, essentially through 3 quarters, Broncos weren't making it easy for him. Fourth quarter goes 12-15, 100+ yards and a touchdown to his absolute favorite target in the world, Keenan Allen, with a ridiculous play sequence where he dodges Nick Bonito, makes him run into the other edge rusher, steps to the side off his back foot while getting hit, and just nails Keenan Allen in the chest. Whoop. And his defense made an amazing catch. And the Chargers go to 3-0, all in division play. Where do you sit right now with the Chargers? With, Bills are 3-0, the Ravens are 1-2, Chiefs are 1-2, but the Chargers are also 3-0. So where do you think you could see them with the way this season is progressing? How could you see them potentially lining up amongst these other AFC elites and their elite quarterbacks?
I think Najee Harris being out is going to suck later. Just like later, not now, not through week 10 or 12, but when it gets time, that's going to suck. But I think they're a better team than the Bills. Sure, Josh Allen's better than Justin Herbert in most people's eyes. In mine, too, I'm hating right now, but not by a lot. I don't think it's just like Allen's here and Herbert's on the floor. I think it's more here for anybody watching on video. It's more here. And I think Herbert just continuing to grow under Jim Harbaugh. And I think this is a grown man sport. We get that. But the confidence that Jim Harbaugh has in Justin Herbert, like outwardly, and I know if he says all this stuff outwardly, I can't imagine what the glaze he's given internally. I know that helps, dude. Because you can tell that this dude, Jim Harbaugh, really believes in Justin Herbert. Like he really believes. And I think that the team follows that. And I think that's what's happening to start the season because they've had some tough games and they've won them all. Whether it's been by 3 or by 12, they've won them all. And I think that's what you have to do when you're getting ready for a playoff play, even though it's early. You have to be able to win those close games. And I think if Justin Herbert can just not have a brain fart for one game like he did last year in the playoffs where he literally played the worst he's probably played, they can make AFC Championship game or better if it shapes out the way it is. Because if the Chiefs aren't there, the Bills don't scare me. Yes, they beat my team, but they don't scare me in real life. I think it will have to be the Chiefs or Ravens, but I think it will have to be the Chiefs that have to beat this Chargers team with Mahomes' magic because I think they're just too much of a well-oiled machine. Their defense is really good. Derwin James is getting the respect he deserves again. People are remembering. Derwin James is one of the best safeties we've seen in the last 5 to 10 years, I'd say, in my opinion. And I think he's keeping that defense together because you got so much help over the top that the rest of the defense can play out of their mind and take risk, and you still can be okay. So I think they can be an AFC Championship team or better if it keeps going like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And back to the point where you were talking about the gap between Herbert and Allen isn't that crazy. And I absolutely agree. The reason why, what a lot of people don't understand is the reason why Herbert sticks around in those top 5 conversations. And in my opinion, I think he's the 4th best quarterback in the league is because like a good 75% of the time, he looks just as good as those top 3 dudes. He genuinely plays just as well as those guys. And then there's a good 20% of the time where it's like, you're not taking over the game how I want you to. Like, you look good, but you don't look superhuman. And then the other 5% is what he did in the playoffs. Well, it's unfortunate it happened in the playoffs, but it happened, and you kind of got to live with it. But I think at least this year, Herbert has been playing as good, if not better, than every single quarterback in the NFL. I think him, Lamar, and Allen have been the top 3 dudes so far this year, and I would say him and Allen are the front runners for most valuable player right now. And there's this little thing called voter fatigue that Allen's going to learn does exist. So Herbert's on a good pace to do that, and this team it's as good as any Chargers team in the last 15 years, I would say, really. Because Herbert's at his absolute best. Keenan Allen seemingly has hit the fountain of youth like times 2. Like he's even better than he was last time he was in LA. at least those last couple years. And Quentin Johnston he's making jump ball catches now. I don't know if he had a talk with a psychiatrist or something, but he's a changed player. Like, he looks really, really good. And Herbert continuing to go to him is only going to build the confidence. So real happy on what they're building over there. The one thing I will say is, okay, not having Najee is going to hurt, but what also doesn't hurt though is that your rookie running back is a rookie and he has fresh legs. So, by those cold months, he should be able to handle about 25 touches a game. Not that you'll need that because you have a superhuman at quarterback, but very excited for this team. And don't worry, Harbaugh is not alone. Not only the glaze that Herbert gets from me might be worse than Harbaugh, and Harbaugh actually gets to see him every day. So big win by the Chargers. As for the Broncos, though, real quick, again, I think Bo Nix very much in that combo for worst starter in the league through 3 weeks now. At first I said 2, now it's 3. It's getting ridiculous. And I was talking with someone. I was in I knew I shouldn't have argued with someone who's a fan of the team, but this person was like, imagine if the Bills gave up on Josh Allen in year 2. Josh Allen was finally able to drink legally in year 2. He was 21 years old, or he was 22 years old. Like he was very young. Duh, his ceiling could be insane. But by 23 years old, he was top 10 quarterback. Lamar Jackson, by 22 years old, top 5 quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, by 23 years old, 24 years old, best player in the world.
And Super Bowl champion, if I'm not mistaken.
Super Bowl champion, most valuable player. Beat Drew Brees in his first year as a starter for most valuable player. Bo Nix is 26. There is no time for growth. I genuinely don't know what they want. When you draft older quarterbacks like that, like him, like Mac Jones, when you draft these older dudes, it's high floor, low ceiling. The only person that kind of doesn't, I don't think this applies to, is Jaden Daniels because he's a great runner. And you could tell last year he was getting better as a thrower too. So, yeah, just not really impressed with what they got going on in Denver. I'll transition into Bears Cowboys. I picked the Cowboys to win this game and absolutely fell through. Very bad on my part, but CD got hurt. I think there was another injury to the defense, but Caleb Williams, the Bears absolutely had their coming out party on this one. Roma Dunze had a score. Luther Burden found the end zone, and he had a huge day. I think he had 3 catches for 100+ yards. That flea flicker was good job on Ben Johnson being in his bag 100%, because if they score the first time they get the ball, they run the flea flicker. So that was a great job by them. Caleb Williams got that ball up to Luther Burden faster than DeAndre Swift got the ball to Caleb, which is pretty crazy. But Caleb looked so good in this one, and I think it's finally getting people to realize Caleb has actually been pretty solid this year. The first 2 games weren't great, especially that first game. It wasn't real great, but we're at 7 touchdowns to 1 pick through 3 games. Caleb Williams has, he's looked great. And of course, I put this on Twitter on our account. I mean, if we're talking since week 3 of last season, he's 100% been better than CJ Stroud, who a lot of people would deem as a top 10 to 12 quarterback in the NFL. So what does that make Caleb Williams? Caleb Williams is, look, me personally, just watching the film, the decisions he's been making this year that he wouldn't make last year, or vice versa, I think we're starting to see someone who's on the verge of climbing into the top 10. I truly believe that. Yes, it is Dallas, so maybe I'm jumping the gun. Maybe we should take this with a grain of salt, but it's the little things. It's a mental processing thing that Caleb's going through that's making him better. Getting the ball out faster, trusting that he has that superhuman arm. He's trusting it a lot more day by day. And honestly, I think my favorite thing about this Bears offense is when they realize DeAndre Swift cannot run through a tunnel. Give it to DJ Moore. DJ Moore is arguably your best player on offense. what a better way to get him the ball than just handing it to him. And it didn't result in anything big, like 50-yard touchdowns or not. But it's just good to get your best player the ball if you're not getting him the receptions, even though he still was getting pretty involved. Caleb ran a pretty decent 2-minute drill at the end of the half as well. So real happy for the Bears. Chris, what did you think about your hometown Chicago Bears this weekend? You did indeed pick them to beat your current hometown Dallas Cowboys.
I kind of hated it because I was hoping it would end in a draw, 0-0. Everybody goes home mad. That's what I was hoping. But in reality, what I got was a Caleb masterclass, which is the only thing I would root for on this Bears team. And shout out Luther Burden, St. Lunatic, if you will. But yeah, I think what I took away from the game, like I said the week before, hold your horses on Caleb. It's okay. Like the reverse of Colin Cowherd. You know what, Bears fans? You're good. Just stay there. Stay put. Give it some time. Give him and Ben Johnson some time. And I think this was just like a glimpse into that. Like, yeah, the Dallas defense is literally poop. But he did what you're supposed to do against them. He put up points. And that's the thing I can respect. And I think he used his special abilities only when he had to. Like, he wasn't trying to be special every play of the game. And I think that's one thing that Caleb just has to get used to. Just being regular. Like, being regular for some portions of the game and then using your superhuman ability when you have to. And that's what I like seeing the most. I'm a fan of that. More touches for Mungai, or Manungai, whatever his name is. More touches for him. More DeAndre Swift is like a slot guy or out the backfield receiver, like Justice Hill type beat. Because he did good in that. But running straight, not his best thing. But yeah, I would say I just like the calmness I've seen from the Bears offense. I think they looked calm. I think they looked ready to go. And I liked how literally every weapon got some. Like everybody did something. And I really like that.
Yeah, and what a better way to keep the confidence rolling against the Raiders, who they also got rolled. So there's that. They haven't necessarily looked great through 3 weeks. I have nothing really to add about the Cowboys. I mean, the defense is atrocious. CD got hurt. Just not. It's
that's the sad part. CD getting hurt.
You didn't even have a fighter's chance after he got hurt, to be entirely realistic, because the whole offense is Dak and CD. Especially when George Pickens was to be dropping the football. So, yeah. Let's move on to our next game here. We got Jets-Bucks, which was a thriller. Who would have ever thought? Tyrod Taylor was minutes away from beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but the Buccaneers win their third clutch game of the year so far, actually. I believe this is the third straight game where they've taken the lead within the last minute or last 2 minutes of the game. I think first team in NFL history ever do that to open a season. But there's no moral victories, right, in the NFL. But Aaron Glenn was clapping after the game, even though they just lost on a game-winning field goal. I think it was to really say, like, last week we got destroyed. Last week we quit. Division rival just backhanded us, and we did not fight back. But this week, we went toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in the NFL. And, again, no moral victories, but that's at least how you fight. That's what I kind of took away from that one. And then the Bucks, again, wins are wins in the National Football League, regardless of how they come. They've beaten good teams in the clutch. They've let bad teams take them to the clutch. But regardless, this whole thing could have been over after they got that kick blocked. They could have literally threw in the towel, but they did not. So big credit to that. What were your thoughts on this game? I don't, necessarily, because Justin Fields wasn't on the field, so I don't know exactly what you were rooting for or looking for on this one, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
I'm impressed with the Jets, man. I'm impressed. Tyrod Taylor is a professional backup, though. He is. He's always going to – whenever you need him, he's there to just be average. And I can respect that because I know exactly what I'm going to get. But I think that Jets team, I think they looked really good, man. Like, all things considered, and the Buccaneers are a good team. The defense is good. So they
Yeah, while little Cedar interrupting with the squeaking,
no,
I get it.
He has no respect for me at all. He literally doesn't care about. My bad. I'm sorry. Freddie doesn't either. Nobody has any respect for me. But I will say, I think them beating the Bucks was cool. Almost beating the Bucks was really cool. Like, there are no more victories in professional sports for the most part, but that's probably the closest you're going to get. Because, after cutting a guy because he's making mistakes, that's how you go out there and put out a good game. I think they look good. I think for the Buccaneers, though, I don't think there's anything to be nervous about or anything to say, oh, I don't know. It's like you're going to have those games. And just the good thing about it is they did not lose it. They still found a way to win. And I think the thing I'm taking away most of it is I watched that Colin Cowherd thing like 3 times a day, different times on Twitter. So that's why I keep using it. It's been in my head. But it's almost like Mike Evans, stay if you want to. But we're good. Not yet, like just trolling, but Ibuka's really good. Just off of 3 games, he's a really good rookie wide receiver. And I like to see what his career is going to be. And I think he's been the perfect thing to have while Godwin still gets back and gets up to speed. Him next to Mike Evans, him learning from Mike Evans is only going to be good for his career. It's only good for extending Mike Evans' career to an extent. So yeah, I really like that part of it. And I think the Bucky Rashad White pairing is really good. It's not Gibbs Montgomery, but I think it's a really good piece of this offense. I think it allows Baker to be Baker because he can lean on a run game. You can give it to him however you want to split it up. They can get 25 to 30 touches, whether it's out the backfield running or out the backfield catching, and they're going to produce. And I think that helps with just the offense overall.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're talking running back duos, there's legit one duo you would take over White and Bucky, and it's the guys you mentioned, Montgomery and Gibbs, especially when they're doing the things they did last night. Let's talk about Cardinals-Niners, which this was one of the lower scoring outcomes of this week, but it's so interesting because the Niners, who seemingly everyone in their facility is made out of that dude from SpongeBob who breaks his ribs every afternoon and breaks both his arms in the morning, they're 3-0. Those guys are 3-0 with 2 division wins. They're 3-0. Mac Jones has 2 of these wins. I'm not here to tell you whether he played absolutely phenomenal or terrible, but he didn't lose them the game. And that's the very most important part. There is a elephant in the room with this game that you and I both wanted to talk about. On a Niners team using a backup quarterback, how exactly is Ricky Pearsall being used better or just flat out playing better than Marvin Harrison Jr.? It's absolutely ridiculous because I won't sit here and say Kyler played a bad game. Didn't throw for a ton of yards, kind of took what he could get, all things considered. But, Marvin Harrison Jr. through 20 career games has, I think, 16 of those games under 50 yards. And I think he has 3 100-yard games. So
he's looking boomer bust, dude. And it's so crazy because at the time, it was like he was the most sure fit at wide receiver. Like, he'd be the one who had the least of these type of games, of these type of, nothing or everything type of games. And it's just weird. And I wouldn't say it's quarterback problems. Like, I don't think he has the worst quarterback. Obviously, we're K1 fan club over here, but I don't know, man. It's just weird to see. And I think what Ricky Pearsall, it's kind of like that football movie story. He maybe just wants it more. He was doubted more than Marvin Harrison. He was shot. He was actually shot.
They said him and Brian Robinson Jr. should be the only 2 in the league to be allowed to use gun celebrations.
I swear they should. They should be like little John Morant's because they literally were shot. And they're on the same team now, which is kind of cool. But Pearsall, I think he just has more to prove in the sense of nobody thought he would be this good. And I think he's going to – but honestly, I do think he's going to turn around for MHJ just after that interview. I think he knows he has something to prove now because now he look crazy, especially being a direct descendant of the Marvin Harrison Sr. If there's anything you should be is consistent at the end of the day. Because if you watch Marvin Harrison with Peyton Manning, he may not have been the biggest guy, may have been the strongest guy, but brother, was he consistent. And I think that's what Marvin Harrison's got to be because for this Cardinals offense to really grow and for it to be anything, especially with James Conner leg going like styrofoam twist, that was insane. They're going to need Marvin Harrison Jr. to step up. They're going to need that. It can't be Del Mercado. It can't be just him. It can't be that. So I think it's going to be a lot. But just for the 49, I think too, they scheme it real. They scheme it well. They do. They figure out a way. And also having Christian McCaffrey doesn't hurt. To kind of take a little bit of pressure off, it doesn't hurt. But they scheme it well, man. They scheme it well.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey is turning into Austin Eckler. I am witnessing it live. Great receiving back. He can't tote the rock no more, though, at least through these first couple of weeks. But Yeah, I mean, Kyle Shanahan is genuinely one of the greatest play callers of all time. I know he doesn't have the ring to back up his status as like a legendary head coach, but I mean, like he just went 2-0 with Mac Jones. I mean, that ain't easy to do. But we'll talk about the Cardinals a little bit later. They'll get their chance to bounce back in the Thursday night game against Seattle. But our final game that we wanted to talk to, there is one more game I want to talk about just a little bit, but this game right here, Chiefs, Giants, Chiefs get on the board. Giants seen enough from Russ, and Jackson Dart will be starting next week. So we'll talk a little bit more about his preview and whatnot, probably, on the later episode. But Chris, was there anything in this game that you saw from Kansas City that was ultra positive? I mean, not losing to the Giants, it's beating the Giants isn't necessarily a positive. That should be the net neutral for this team. That should be a walk in the park. But was there anything you saw differently that you're like, okay, maybe they did this a little bit different than they did in 2 weeks prior, that they can take forward and hopefully get back in the fight for the 1 seed?
Absolutely not. I literally did not. And that's not even like a troll. The Giants are just that ass. I think they just it's it's like on Madden sometimes where you pick a team that's just rated higher and just stuff just happens to where it's like, I knew I should pick somebody better. That's what happened. The Giants should have picked somebody better. And I think that's what they figured out. I think the most that I could take away from it, Tyquan Thornton making a couple plays, making that beautiful catch, that one catch. That was really beautiful. That's what I could take away from it. But I think the thing that I most take away from is actually a negative from the Chiefs. The thing that's been scary about the Chiefs over the last few years is that their run game will sneak up on you. Like you're not necessarily planning for it, but you look up Kareem Hunt, Pacheco, and whoever else they let run the ball ends up with like 120 scrimmage yards. I don't see that happening this year for them. That running game looks terrible. Pacheco looks terrible. Kareem Hunt looks like he was supposed to look last year, older. He looks older. I don't know. I think that's the run game is scaring me just a tad. But I mean, at the end of the day, when you got Patrick Mahomes and you let him let it fly, good things gonna happen. So that's really what I took away from it. And the Giants, I'm happy that they are taking a chance on Jackson Dart. Good.
Yeah, because your first round quarterback should have been playing from day one.
Should have been playing from day one. At least let him try to get some chemistry with Malik Neighbors. At least let him try. And let Russ Wilson go be a Bengal. Just go do something. And I think I'm happier to see what Jackson Dart has because I wasn't a big believer in Jackson Dart. Even though he's up the road at SMU, I didn't really see anything. So I hope that I'm proven wrong. He's really good in the NFL, but I think it's time for the Giants to stop acting like they were going to be contenders this year and just let the young guys play and try to figure it out. And sad to see Tyrone Tracy out for 2 to 4 weeks with separated shoulder. That's kind of bad because I like Tyrone Tracy as a back. I think he runs hard. So that sucks too. I know it's not going to be good. Well, Cam's got a bowl season though. So I guess it's a positive for letting the young guys play.
I was definitely excited to see both of them. Something that made me scratch my head at the Giants, though, I mean, aside letting Russell Wilson play football, is they brought in Jackson Dart to run a quarterback design. Jackson Dart can run a little bit, right? He's got better legs than the average quarterback. But the type of guy you bring in for like a package to run the ball is like Justin Fields. Or it's like baby Lamar, baby Jalen Hurts. Like those are guys you bring in to pick you up a 4th and 2 on a quarterback sweep. And not Jackson Dart. He's not a package guy. He's a quarterback, who got a little bit of legs on him. He's not a dual threat quarterback. Those are 2 completely different things. Joe Burrow's got legs on him. He's not a dual threat quarterback. So I just thought that was very odd, but I'm excited for his first start. He will unfortunately have to play the Chargers, though. Derwin James might take him out, but I hope not. I don't hope any player is bad besides Deshaun Watson, but yeah, for the most part, I don't want any players to be bad. I wasn't high on Jackson Dart in the draft. I'm not high on him now, but there is a world where Dable can make him work. Right now, how Shane Steichen is making things work with Daniel Jones over in Indianapolis with the play action, the pre-snap motion, and Daniel Jones just doing his dang thing. There's a world where that could work out. Quick one more game I want to talk to before the Thursday night preview. I don't really have too many comments on it, but That was completely unacceptable by the Falcons. That was very unacceptable. Did you see the stat that Penix is 0-4 when the other team scores more than 7?
Hey, that boy Penix, hey, I ain't gonna lie. And before I say what I'm about to say, it would have made you thought the Panthers defense was good.
Yeah, I would kind of agree.
The defense was actually good. It will make you think it's good. And the thing is, Penix is actually post CTE Tua with the durag. That's what he actually is. Like when Tua first came in, he's better than Penix by far. By far. Penix is, and it's like, it's not even because he only makes one read. He just makes the wrong read. And even if he makes the right one, he just throws in the dirt sometimes. Like it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing to see it because it's like, what's going on? Like, what if it's not a pass to Bijan in the backfield? I'm nervous. I'm actually nervous.
Yeah, his feet are never planted correctly. It's just bad mechanics, bad decision making at this moment. Bryce. I'm pretty sure Bryce Young. I think he's got a handful of wins in his career. I think 3 of them are the Falcons. So. Shout out to him. But let's get to this Seahawks Cardinals Thursday night preview. I told you guys we were getting right back to the Cardinals. Seahawks coming off a monster win against New Orleans. That's how you take care of business against an inferior team. And the Cardinals are looking to bounce back. Who do you have winning this game and why?
Well, I have the Seahawks winning. I just think they're a better team. And I think missing Connor's going to hurt for the first couple weeks, of trying to figure out how you're going to supplement that. So I think it's going to hurt a lot. So that's really why I'm picking the Seahawks. And I like the Seahawks defense a lot. I do. I like the defense a lot. I think it's very interesting. It's not every big name, but it's people who play very, very hard. And I think the offense is growing on me just a little bit too. Just a little bit. I've always been a K-Walk fan, but I may be starting to see what y'all were talking about with JSN. I wasn't believing it. Not believing it like I thought he was answering anything. No. I just wasn't there. Like I was not there, and I'm late to the party. So excuse my tardiness, but that kid's clearly a player. I like him a lot. I like what Darnold did last week, or Sunday. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the Seahawks winning. I just want to see from the Cardinals one of those Stafford Nakua games, one of those Hurts Brown games. Murray and Harris, please, and not even to win. Just so he can get his confidence together. Because at this point, I feel like that's more important than wins currently for the Cardinals where they're 6. They're not competing for a championship. Getting his confidence up and getting reps and getting that continuity together is probably the most important thing for the team right now, especially with Connor out. So that's really what I'm looking forward to seeing, buddy ball from them and a Seahawks win.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I'm going Seahawks as well. Seahawks had the longest short week you can have because they took care of business and the guys got the rest. They practically did nothing out there. There was a lot of special teams touchdown or special teams plays. They had the one special teams touchdown. So, I'm going to go Seahawks in this one. I think they're riding a high that they can continue to take into this week. Darnold's coming off a pretty solid week as well. So that's always good to see. And, they have something they could work on is the run game, of course. But I'm going to take Seattle in this one. And then I'll get Danny's on it, whatever, and let people know what the whole crew is feeling on that pick. But that's everything for you guys today. A little bit of a shorter episode, obviously, when there's just 2 people. But again, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Audio listeners, leave a like, 5-star review, anything to keep the algorithm pushing. As always, AP New Freezer, Coulter by Migos. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys later this week.